We're about to dive into one of the biggest scientific arguments in all of history. But I want you to think about it in a new way. Imagine it's a high stakes legal battle over the actual contract that governs reality itself. Seriously, the rules of our universe were literally up for debate, and you better believe the stakes were as high as they could possibly get. And it all kicks off with this one, kind of famous phrase from Albert Einstein. Now, he wasn't talking about ghosts. Not at all. He was talking about a brand new theory that it didn't set right with him. He was convinced it violated a fundamental clause in the contract of the cosmos. And that's really the question, isn't it? I mean, this is the guy who gave us relativity equals mc squared. What in the world could he run into that would make him call it spooky? Well, that's exactly what we're going to find out. So our story really begins with this incredible clash between two of the most brilliant people of the 20th century. And look, this wasn't just some stuffing academic argument. Oh no, this was a full-blown philosophical war for the very soul of physics. Okay, so this slide breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got Einstein. He was absolutely convinced that reality is concrete, it's local. For him, what happens here can't instantly affect what happens way over there. He figured there must be some hidden variables, like fine print in the contract that we just hadn't discovered yet. But on the other side was Niels Bohr, who basically said, nope, the universe is just weird. He argued that reality is fundamentally fuzzy, a cloud of possibilities, until the moment you actually look at it. So Einstein, being Einstein, decides to challenge Bohr's whole view head-on. He zeroes in on one particularly bizarre prediction from quantum mechanics and holds it up as proof that the theory was incomplete, that the contract had a massive, glaring flaw. And this right here, this was his Exhibit A, quantum entanglement. Okay, picture this. You have two particles, and they're linked. Now you send one to the complete other side of the galaxy. The instant you measure a property of the particle you have here, like its spin, you immediately know the spin of its partner, light years away, instantly, no delay. This is what he called spooky action at a distance, because to him, it seemed to shatter the ultimate speed limit of the universe, the speed of light. It was a core rule in his own theory of relativity. Nothing, no information, could travel faster than light, period. And this new idea? It was a direct contradiction. It felt like a total breach of contract. But here's the thing. For decades, this huge disagreement was just stuck. It was like a cosmic cold case, and the trail had gone completely cold. There was no new evidence. Just look at this timeline for a second. Einstein throws down this challenge in 1935, but it's not until the mid-1960s that another physicist, John Bell, even comes up with a way to test it in theory. We're talking about almost 30 years of just arguing. Yeah, for an entire generation of scientists, this wasn't something you could solve in a lab. It was a philosophical war fought with pure thought experiments. Whose version of the universe's contract was the right one? Nobody knew. But then, finally, technology started to catch up with the theory. The time had come to put the contract to the ultimate test, to get a final ruling not from a physicist, but from reality itself. So this was it. This was the question that everyone needed an answer to. Was Einstein right all along? Are there these secret local rules that make all the spookiness go away? Or is the universe really as strange as Bohr and his quantum theory said it was? So this is where John Bell becomes the hero of the story. He was the brilliant guy who finally cracked the case. He created a mathematical test you could actually do in the real world. Think of it this way. Bell figured out that if Einstein was right, if these particles had secretly agreed on their properties beforehand, then their results would have a hard limit. His test was designed to see if nature actually followed that limit. It was a way to force the universe to finally show its hand. And so the experiments began. Physicists set them up, and they ran them again and again and again, getting more and more precise over the years. And every single time, the answer that came back was, well, it was shocking, and it left no room for doubt. The experiments proved it conclusively. There are no local hidden variables. The universe does not operate on some secret local rulebook that we just haven't found yet. Nature's ruling was in, and it was final. And what that means is that Niels Bohr was right. The world really is fundamentally weird and probabilistic at its very core. That spooky connection that bothered Einstein so much, it's real. It is a signed, sealed, and delivered clause in the contract of reality. And that, right there, brings us to the most important point. It might have some truly strange, even spooky clauses, but reality is bound by its own rules. The contract is the contract, and you know what? The universe follows it to the letter every time. This whole story really reveals a deep universal principle. The universe runs on a binding agreement, a contract. Einstein was a genius at reading the contract of relativity, but even he resisted the weird new clauses that came with quantum mechanics. And that teaches us something really powerful. Success, whether you're talking about physics or business or anything else, it depends on understanding the real terms of the agreement you're in, not just the ones you like or the ones that make sense to you. So let me just leave you with this thought. The greatest minds in history spent decades arguing over the terms of reality before they could even test them. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What assumptions are we making every day? What are the unwritten rules, the unsigned contracts that are quietly running our own lives, just waiting for us to figure them out?